My dear friend, welcome to Breath Journey, a place where every breath becomes a path home, where every moment of stillness opens a doorway to healing. I often tell my students that life, especially after the age of 50, is like a book that has grown thick with many chapters, many memories. Some chapters shine like the morning sun, while others are heavy with shadows. And it is at this stage of life that we must learn how to read our book again with new eyes of peace and understanding. Breath Journey is not just a YouTube channel. I hope you will feel it as a companion, a teacher sitting in front of you, speaking through each word, each breath. Here we do not chase trends, nor do we seek noise. We sit down together slowly and listen to the voice within, the voice that, after decades of hurry, we may have forgotten. I am 60 years old. For half my life, I have dedicated myself to meditation practice, to teaching, and to accompanying souls who are walking through many storms. I have sat with elders who carry chronic illness, seeing in their eyes both longing and worry. I have spoken with mothers who suffer sleepless nights because their children live far away, or widows who feel their homes have become too wide, too silent. These experiences have taught me one truth. What exhausts us is not always the body, but the mind, the repeating thoughts, the memories that refuse to let go, the heavy silence we don't know how to share. And yet I have also witnessed another truth, beautiful and miraculous. Inside every human being, regardless of age, there exists a spring that never dries up. That spring is the breath, the silence, the compassion, and the wisdom already within us. All we need is to find our way back to it. And today's journey through 15 healing techniques inspired by Buddhist wisdom is an invitation to open that door again and let the light flow in. Many people ask me, "Teacher, at my age, is it really possible to change? Can my mind ever be peaceful again?" I always smile and answer, peace has never left you. It is still here. You have only forgotten the way home. Modern science also proves that even at 70, the brain can regenerate. It can form new pathways if we practice consistently. What the Buddha taught thousands of years ago, that the mind can be trained and liberated, is now confirmed by neuroscience. I remember once a man in his 70s came to my class. He said, "All my life I've lived in anxiety. I thought at my age change was impossible." Yet after a few months of mindful breathing and observing his thoughts, he told me he had experienced the first peaceful mornings in decades. He said, "I never knew silence could be so sweet." That story reminded me, healing is not a distant goal. It is a capacity already within us, waiting for us to open to it. In this video, I want to guide you through 15 doors, 15 self-healing practices that I have seen work deeply for people in your stage of life. Some doors may feel familiar, like anchoring with the breath or meditating on impermanence. Others may feel new, like compassionate self-talk or sacred listening. You don't have to open them all at once. Let your heart choose, the way you pause in a garden before the flower that speaks to you the most. And you don't have to force yourself to become someone else. I don't expect you to watch this video and transform overnight. I only hope that by the time this video ends, you will give yourself a few minutes to breathe slowly, to listen to the whisper inside, and to smile gently at yourself. If you can do just that, the journey has already begun. My friend, this is not theory. This is distilled from a lifetime of practice, from countless honest conversations with older souls like you, and even affirmed by modern science. The mind can heal, and you can rediscover peace at any age. Breath Journey is here to walk with you. Think of this video like a cup of tea in the early morning. Not too strong, not too weak, but warm enough to comfort your heart. And if what I share resonates with you, then let us continue this path together. My dear friend, as we step into the later years of life, we sometimes feel as though our story is closing. Many people believe there is nothing new to learn, nothing left to change. But in my decades of guiding older students in meditation, I have found the opposite. It is precisely at this stage of life that we have the deepest chance to heal, to live fully, and to rediscover peace. One important doorway is gratitude. Do you remember the last time you paused and whispered thanks for something small in your life? It might be the morning sunlight spilling through the window, the laughter of a grandchild, or simply the fact that you could still stand up after a long night's rest. Gratitude does not erase pain, but it gives us new eyes to see reality. I once knew an elderly woman with severe arthritis who could barely walk. Yet every day she wrote down 3 things she was grateful for. After a few months, she told me, "I am still in pain, but I no longer suffer the same way." I realized there are still many small joys to hold on to. Gratitude is like a lamp that lights even the darkest corners of the soul. Another doorway is compassionate self-talk. Many of us have spent our whole lives scolding ourselves. When we make a mistake, we say, "I'm useless." When illness comes, we whisper, "Why is my body so weak?" But my friend, we don't need another judge in our head. What we need is a companion. Try whispering to yourself, "I'm doing the best I can. I deserve to rest." Such words may sound simple, but they hold tremendous healing power. Modern science confirms this. Positive self-talk lowers stress hormones and creates feelings of safety in the brain. Then there is walking meditation. At this age, many people cannot sit for long because of back pain or stiff knees. But meditation is not only sitting still, it can be every step we take. Each morning, I walk in the park near my home. As I place one foot down, I silently say, "Arriving." As I lift the other foot, I say, "Returning." Every step becomes a bridge that connects me to the earth, to the present moment. One of my students, after losing his wife, practiced walking meditation daily. He told me each step made him feel as though she was still walking beside him. Walking meditation does not erase grief, but it transforms grief into a gentle song that allows us to keep walking. Another doorway I treasure deeply is what I call sacred listening, because there are moments when deep listening can heal more than 1,000 words of advice. You can sit quietly and listen to nature, the wind through the trees, the song of birds at dawn, or you can listen to a loved one speaking their heart without interrupting, without judgment. Deep listening gives another person the gift of being fully themselves. And strangely enough, when you listen with an open heart, you are also healing yourself. Finally, let me share with you the power of mantra. In Buddhism, a mantra is not about mystery or magic. A mantra is sound energy, a rhythm that leads the mind into focus and tranquility. You may choose a simple word like peace, release, or even breathe. As you repeat it with each breath, the sound becomes a thread that pulls you out of worry and guides you back into inner stillness. I often advise students to use a mantra before bedtime, allowing the mind to be gently carried into restful dreams. My friend, these 5 doors, gratitude, compassionate self-talk, walking meditation, sacred listening, and mantra, are not meant to replace the other practices, but to enrich your journey home. Each door opens to a path, and you have the right to choose the one that fits your heart. What matters is not how fast you walk, but that you are still walking, still living, and still able to smile with peace. My dear friend, when you sit in true stillness, you may notice that the mind is like a river, always flowing. On that river drift countless leaves, branches, and debris. These are our thoughts, memories, and worries. The problem is not that the river flows. That is its nature. The problem is that we keep jumping in, clinging to each branch, trying to gather every leaf, and we end up exhausted. The first thing I learned from the Buddha is the art of observing without judgment. Sit by the riverbank and watch the leaves float by without jumping into the stream. When a thought arises, you don't need to label it good or bad. It is simply a cloud passing across the sky. I once guided an elderly man in his 60s who had lived his whole life in anxiety, relying on sleeping pills every night. After just a few weeks of practicing, sitting quietly and observing his thoughts as clouds, he told me, "For the first time, I don't feel carried away." This can happen to anyone, no matter their age. Another way to step out of that entanglement is by labeling emotions. When worry arises, gently say, "This is worry." When anger appears, whisper, "This is anger." Naming creates distance, as if you step back and see things from the outside. Neuroscience calls this the labeling effect, a mechanism that reduces activity in the brain's stress regions. I often tell my students, emotions are like guests who come to visit. You don't have to let them stay forever. Just acknowledge them, greet them, and let them go. Then you will encounter one of the Buddha's deepest truths, impermanence. Everything changes. Nothing lasts forever. Joy and sorrow, health and illness, all come and go like the seasons of the year. I remember a 70-year-old woman after heart surgery once told me, "I thought this pain would kill me. But when you reminded me to breathe and say, 'This pain will pass,' I found I could endure it." Realizing impermanence doesn't make us indifferent. It makes us free because we know no suffering is eternal. At times, the mind feels like a cramped room, packed with clutter. But did you know that between thoughts, there is always a space? If you close your eyes and imagine your mind as a vast sky, letting each thought dissolve into that openness, you realize you are no longer trapped in a small room. I call this the healing space, where you become the silent witness. One of my students described it beautifully. "Teacher, I feel as though a window has opened and fresh air is rushing in. And finally, there is a deeper doorway, quieting the self. All our lives, the self whispers in our heads, 'I must be this way. I cannot be that way. I must protect my image.' But when you begin to see the self as only a voice, not your true essence, you discover a surprising freedom. An elderly man once told me, 'All my life I tried to prove I was strong, but when I laid down my ego, I finally felt at peace.' My friend, when the self grows quiet, we touch another dimension. A pure presence, unadorned, untouched by the noise of stories in the mind. These doors, observing without judgment, labeling emotions, meditating on impermanence, entering the inner space and quieting the self, are like 5 steps leading us into silence. No one can climb them for you, but with each step you take, with each breath you breathe, you come closer to the land of peace that has always been within you. My dear friend, we have now walked together through 15 doorways of self-healing. You may not remember them all, and you don't need to practice everything at once. What matters is that you paused, gave yourself permission to sit quietly, to listen, and to open your heart to something new. Just one seed planted today is enough. In time, it will grow. The miracle is that you don't have to wait for the future to find peace. Peace is not a destination far away. Peace is in the way you breathe in and out right now, in the gentleness you give yourself when sadness comes, in the smile you allow when you notice small things to be grateful for. I have lived 60 years witnessing changes and losses. I too have known suffering, falling into the shadows of my own mind. Yet each time the breath saved me, silence embraced me. Compassion reminded me that I was never truly alone. And I believe you too can find these treasures within yourself, because they have always been there. I still remember an old man in his 70s, eyesight fading, steps slow, but every morning he went to the park to practice walking meditation. He told me, "I no longer expect to live for many more years. I only hope each day carries a little peace." Then he smiled, a smile as gentle as sunlight. You see, we don't need a perfect life. We only need to truly live each moment. When you practice, remember, there is no right or wrong. Some days you will feel stillness, some days your mind will be noisy again. But even that noticing is already a step. The goal is not to control everything, but to keep returning, keep breathing, keep smiling. Breath Journey was born from a simple wish, to walk with you on this path. With every video, every word, I want you to feel as if you are sitting face to face with an old friend, listening, supporting, walking beside you. If what I shared today touched your heart, I invite you to subscribe so we can continue meeting here each week in this quiet space. And if you find this video helpful, please share it with a friend or loved one. They too may be searching for a little piece of their own. Who knows, just one breath, one story might rekindle the light in their heart. My friend, the journey of healing never truly ends. It is not a destination, but a way of living. Tomorrow when you wake, try sitting quietly for a few minutes, breathing slowly, placing your hand over your heart, and whispering, "I am still here. I am alive. I am enough." I believe that doing just this will open your day with fullness. Thank you for spending this time with me and with Breath Journey today. Remember, you are never alone. Every breath is a companion. Every moment of stillness is a gift. And every time you return to yourself, you touch the peace that has always been there. May your day be peaceful, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.